Hello everyone. My name is Divya Bharti. I have 3 years experience in IT sector and 5 years experience in teaching. I have been guiding BTech students especially for the GATE examination. Moving to the course introduction. I will be teaching operating system and as per the syllabus mentioned on Way to School's website, I will be covering it in 40 to 45 hours, in which we will include both the theoretical concepts and practical examples. And at the end of each session, we will have some objective questions which I will try to include from both GATE and the PSUs. I will also like to include handouts for all the students based on the requirement of the subject we have learned. Today we are going to have introduction session about operating system. So for today I will be covering it through slides. But in coming weeks when we are going to have numericals, I will prefer to teach through electronic board. All the suggestions are humbly invited. But I request all of you to be interactive and ask as many questions as you want so that we all can learn in a better way. So let's start our class and study what is operating system. Many definitions have been provided regarding the operating system. But the first and the foremost thing that we need to understand is that operating system acts as an intermediary between the user of a computer and the computer hardware. Also, many times we are having a doubt whether operating system is a hardware or it is a software. But I need to make it clear that operating system is a software and sometimes we mention it as a program only. So it is a program or it is a software which manages the computer hardware. It also provides a basic for application program and act as an intermediary between the computer user and the computer hardware. I am going to explain these things through the diagrams in the coming slide. So the same thing have been mentioned in the slide also, slide number 3. That is, an operating system is a type of software that is a combination of data and programs that manages your whole computer. You need to understand one thing, that without operating system your computer is blank. If the software is there, hardware is there, but operating system is not there, then nothing is going to function. Because we always need an intermediary thing. For example, if I am making a call, I am having a telephone and the another person is also having the telephone. But if in between there is no cable connection or no network connection, are we going to able to make the call? No. So operating system perform this type of function only. It is an intermediary which handles our request and send it to the hardware or to the software even and give us the response. So same thing have been mentioned in the slide, that it is a link between the hardware and the software and ensure that the different aspects of the computer work well together and can run together. Continuing with the slide number 4, we will see some more definition. The first point is the same which I have been mentioning from starting, that it acts as an intermediary between the user of a computer and the computer hardware. Also, operating system provide an environment in which user can execute programs in a convenient and efficient manner. Also, operating system can be considered as a software which manages the hardware. But one thing I want to mention here, which we are going to see in slide number 6, that apart from managing the hardware also, operating system manages many other things which we are going to see in some time. Now, after understanding what is operating system, we need to understand that why we are studying this subject. First of all, we need to know that operating system is an essential part of any computer system, and because of the same reason it forms an important part of the computer science education also. And this field of operating system is undergoing a rapid change, as computer nowadays is prevalent in every application, whether it is games for children or we are doing any planning for government or in IT sector or in education system. We can see the drastic change. We also know that how many changes in Windows take place from Windows 90 to 95 to XP to now to Windows 7, and now we are having Windows 10 even. So because of these changes, we need to be aware that if we are working on the computer system, what is actually going inside the computer system. That's why for every computer related student it is very important to study this subject. And the same thing have been mentioned in slide, that operating system is a key part of computer system, and by understanding the system software as a whole, we will gain a deeper understanding of how computer actually work and understand the different computer architects and platform. Moving to slide number 6. Here we are going to see that how operating system worked as an intermediary between the hardware and the user. So as it is visible in the diagram, you can see that the operating system can directly interact with the hardware, or it can also interact via system software. Also, operating system is having interaction with the human resource also, and through the application software also. There are many examples, and these examples belong to a day-to-day work that we perform on computer. For example, if I need to take out a printout, then in that case the human resource is going to send some directions. So that direction will be sent to the application software, which the operating system is going to receive, and after that it is going to send that instructions to the hardware. So this sending of instructions is done by the operating system only. Or we all know that we perform many multitasking at the same time, that many tasks we are doing. We are listening to music also, we are preparing some document, and at the same time we are chatting also. So all these multitasking things which are going on at the same time is handled by operating system. So through this slide we can understand the importance of operating system, that without operating system nothing is possible in the computer system. Moving to the next slide, here you can see that I have provided a diagram where the interaction between the operating system and the different hardware devices can be visualized. So here the mouse, the hard disk and the keyboard directly interact with the operating system, and some other devices like the monitors, speakers, they interact with the operating system through sound card or the video card. And the output that we receive from these interaction, maybe it is in the form of some document when we interact with mouse or keyboard, or in form of some audio and video when the interaction takes place through speaker, the output is received by the user. So it's just an interaction which takes place between the hardware and the user, which is provided by the operating system. Apart from these interaction, in the coming chapters we are also going to see that how operating system provide its services to the user also. Like I want to give one small example, that at many times we are performing many tasks. So how these tasks need to be handled inside the computer system, this is something which is done by the operating system, and we are going to study all these things in detail in the coming chapters. Moving to the next very important slide. Here we are going to see that when we turn on a computer system, when the operating system gets loaded. So when we turn on the power for a computer system, the first thing which happens is the BIOS which get loaded. We all know that BIOS means basic input output system, which ensures that the BIOS will always be available and will not be damaged by the disk failure or through any other issue. And also it make it possible for a computer to boot itself. So after the BIOS is done, we are having the post test, that is power on self test. So when the power is turned on, the post is the diagnosis testing sequence that a computer basic input output, or we can say the starting program, runs to determine if the computer keyboard, random access memory, disk drive and other hardware things are working correctly. After we have checked all these things, that is our input and the output is working fine, our operating system gets loaded. So this is the very important point, and in many examination it is asked also that after which task the operating system is get loaded, or is the operating system is the first thing which happens when we turn on a computer system. So we need to make sure that first our input and output system are tested, that they are working fine, then only our operating system is going to get loaded. And after that, all other tasks that our system configuration is accomplished, and all the utilities that we are having inside a computer system is getting loaded. And the last thing is that the user is authenticated, that in many computers we know that they ask for a user ID and password. So this is the main sequence that we need to remember. It is very easy that we know that operating system is an interaction between the hardware and the user. User is sitting in front of the computer system. So what we need to make sure, if the hardware is working properly, that is the input and the output system, after that only the operating system is going to get loaded. And once the operating system is loaded, our other utilities like our application programs and other things are going to get loaded. So this is the basic concept behind this slide. Now we are going to see the basic function of the operating system. I hope by this time everything must have been clear that what is the operating system doing inside a computer system. So starting with the basic function, the first thing that the operating system do is the device configuration. As told in the previous slide, that once the BIOS is loaded, the operating system gets loaded. So it controls all the peripheral device connected to the computer, whether it is hardware or any disk or any CD that we are inserting. All the peripheral device that we are going to connect to our computer system is controlled by the operating system. Also, it do the task of file management. That is, it transfer file between the main memory and secondary memory and manages all the folders, allocate them space, and also it allocate them the sequence in which these files are going to run. So this is the second important function of the operating system. The third very important function of operating system is managing our memory. In the earlier slide I have told you one example, that if many tasks are running at the same time, like we are seeing the video also, we are preparing some document, and we are chatting also. So we all know every task requires some amount of memory. Now how this need to be allocated and in which sequence they need to be run, because there is always some priority. Like for example, the hardware things always take priority number 1. If I am having some hardware related task, operating system will always going to assign priority 1. These things we are going to learn in the coming chapters. So all this task of managing the memory of the task we are doing is done by the operating system only. And the last function of operating system is interface platform, that it allow computer to run other applications, whether it is system application or it is any application software, anything. It is always working as an interface. Now let's understand about the classes of operating system. When we talk about the classes of operating system, then based on the device which we are using, we classify them. Usually we classify them on the basis of real-time operating system and the single user operating system. But here different classification have been given, and this is going to be useful if you are going to write any theoretical question answer. So first is the desktop or server operating system. Means if you are using any desktop server, then you can use desktop operating system like Windows and Linux operating system. The second one is the distributed operating system. When we talk about distributed, we all know that there are different computer systems which are connected through a main server. That is known as a distributed system. So the operating system used in this type of network is known as distributed operating system. So it implements a single operating system instance spanning multiple machines. An application have a single memory space view. No significant real world adoption, mainly research topics. So this is something which is used in the researches only. We don't use in our usual day-to-day work. The third one, which is very important, is the real-time operating system. It determines timely behavior of computer system services, and it support all the real-time application that we use. Some of the example are OSE, QNX and RT Linux. These are the real-time operating system. In the next slide, I will make these things more clear. Apart from them, we are having embedded operating system also. In the embedded operating system, these are basically for the embedded computer system. When we use big computers, like which are very efficient and having a lot of storage services, then we use this embedded operating system. These are basically specialized operating system which are used into large systems. So for that purpose we use the embedded operating system. So in the next slide, I'll try to make the differences between the real-time operating system and single user operating system more clear, because these two are the operating system that we use in our day-to-day life. So the first one is the real-time operating system. All the small applications we use, whether it is in a mobile or the MP3 players or any medical devices also that we use, those make use of the real-time operating system. So these are very fast, small operating system. They respond very quickly to user input and they are already built into device. So these are the real-time operating system. And when we talk about the single user, as the name suggests, that only one user works on the system and performs one task at a time, especially the MS-DOS that we have all learned in our school times, that MS-DOS can be used by the one user only at one system. They also occupy little space on disk and they run on inexpensive computers. So these are the two very important operating systems that we use in our day-to-day life. So now we are done with the introduction session. Today we learned what is operating system, why we are studying it, basic functions of the operating system and the different classes or types of the operating system. Now we are going to go through some of the MCQs and I would like every one of you to answer them. The first question is that what is operating system? Option 1, collection of programs that manages hardware resources. Option 2, hardware service provider to the application programs. Option 3, link to interface the hardware and application programs. Option 4, all of the mentioned. Moving to question number 2, which of the following requires a device driver? Option 1, register. Option 2, cache. Option 3, main memory. Option 4, disk. MCQ 3. To access the services of operating system, the interface is provided by the option 1, system calls. Option 2, API. Option 3, library. Option 4, assembly instructions. Our next question, which of the following error will be handled by the operating system? Option 1, power failure. Option 2, lack of paper in printer. Option 3, connection failure in the network. Option 4, all of the mentioned. Moving to our last question, which of the following is not a real-time operating system? Option 1, VxWorks. Option 2, Windows CE. Option 3, RT Linux. And option 4, Palm OS. For this introduction session, I am not having any particular handout. I just want all of you to revise the basic concepts that we have discussed today and come with questions in the next session so that we can discuss if you have any doubts. And if you are having doubts in this session also, then we can discuss it now. Thank you.